had to begin with Mahtab Moradi on the show. She's a family counselor, and we are going to talk about holiday things perfect as far as our kids are concerned, family, school, teachers, but what happens to us, right, in the meantime?
We feel like we go through the motions.
I'm telling you, I feel like I'm just on a roll. There's no breather, you know. So let's talk about what specific aspects of the holiday season tend to cause the most stress, right?
Well, I think just to piggyback on the food drive, it's not, the holiday stress related to finances is not necessarily if you have enough or you have too much.
True.
People actually do stress about money during the holidays. And me being a marriage and family therapist, I don't know if you guys knew, but the amount of people filing for divorce in January is like one of the peak months.
Really?
And they
say, I
say,
had no idea.
Yeah, that's as a result of all the pressures of the holidays and then accumulated with tax season and people really reevaluate things even in their relationships. So finances, one thing that money does to all of us is we seem to judge ourselves the most when it comes to finances, and then also gift giving.
Yeah.
So what goes through your mind when you want to give a gift, right? Obviously, we all wish we had plenty and we could give everyone wonderful gifts. But that's not necessarily the case when you're having to manage family and your finances at the end of the year, trying to make ends meet, or in some families, just even feeding your family.
Yeah, right.
And then we're bombarded with these images of, beautiful trees, gifts to the ceiling. Like, it's just not everyone's reality.
Yeah.
And oftentimes in mental health, we suffer the most when we set ourselves up for a reality that we can never achieve.
Yes.
So then that kind of makes us get into our own heads and emotions and not feel good about where we are. And then our family is the safest people that we can project on. So sometimes people have emotional breakdowns during the holidays because they just reach their point, right? Everyone has
the tipping point. Yes,
yeah.
Right.
So it's tough. Definitely finances are a big, whether you have too much or too little, I think we can all agree at every stage we do suffer with that.
Yes, and I think the whole season has become so much so much more materialistic, right? Because it's always about, you can still give a handmade gift, but that does not count anymore. Believe me, with my kids, it's gonna be like, what?
So
what is
this? The real one.
Exactly. Where is the real one?
So my daughter was home for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And, she works. She's had a job since she was 15.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, Mom, you need to give me a list of what you want. And, I've been when I travel, I love old pages of books, like from the 1800s, or, a map of, I don't know, Paris that,
back in the day.
I go and I actually look for those kinds of treasures. And they don't weigh anything. So with the new way of traveling, it's great to collect little treasures like that. So I brought out all the little pages that I've been buying, through my travels. And I'm like,
So you have a book that you keep it in?
Well, I have them kind of in these protective...
cases,
And I said, you guys can do these projects that I don't have time to do, such as framing these. I said, that's what I want.
Right? Wow.
And she looked, and because I actually will then get to enjoy all these little finds.
Right.
And she was just taken back, and she's like, that's all you want? So it makes me think of the handmade ornaments.
Right? But sometimes it's just the actions, I think, that are important, right? Because that will help you to look at them and enjoy them throughout instead of having a gift, right?
Yes.
And I think your kids are old enough so they can do that.
And,
and they understand.
Most of us have too much of everything.
That's so true. That is so true.
I mean, when I think about like how much we consume, it's very disturbing. So focusing on making memories, making a good meal together, like going on in the hill country, go for a hike half of the day, not make everything about these tangible.
Yeah.
We leave this world with none of it.
Yeah.
But we create such big fusses.
Yeah.
And then kind of making it easy on our girlfriends, on our family members. Say no gift. Or make it a $5 silly gift.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true.
I think a gift that is well thought out, that shows that I paid attention to what your favorite color is or what your interests are, is far more important than getting you, a brand name something.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of have a paradigm shift.
Yeah. We really
and
do.
Creating, there's actually a lot of good literature out about the new wealth is relationships. Just become kind of, I think we're all to some degree hoarders. That really relationships. And a kid will never remember out of his childhood like, oh, my aunt bought me, the latest Jordans when I was 12.
Yeah.
But they will remember that, her biryani is their favorite.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That is so true.
And our brain kind of hangs on to things that are associated with the person we care about.
Yeah.
So the holiday gift giving shouldn't be just about frivolous giving, but more intentional. Last year, who did I not have enough time with? I have nieces and nephews. How about I take that pause during the holidays to make a connection, see where they're at, what are they doing in life?
Yeah, true.
So making those spaces for family to connect.
Yeah, absolutely, because you're always so busy. We live in this country and we're always so busy with I don't know what, but we are. I mean, it is the fact, but just pausing, right, like you said, and taking that time, that's important. And you were right on spot when you said, I think it's us Americans, we have too much of everything, right? Like one pen is not enough. We have to go buy the whole pack. But that is, and I realized when I went, because different colors, I went to India this summer, right? So I went almost after 6 years.
Yeah.
And I realized over there, one is enough, and for them, right?
Yeah.
But for us, and it was just me and my son, and we realized one is not enough. We just need more of the same thing, and it was literally Sharpies. So we couldn't, because they sell one, so you can buy one, or over here you can never buy one. You have to buy the whole packet, right? Yeah. But over there, and my son was like, no, we're gonna get the 12 pack instead of just one, right?
See?
Because that's the culture we live in. I mean, in a way, it's abundance of everything, and we're truly blessed.
But over time, that not enough mentality actually sets us up for depression.
It does. It really
anxiety.
Does.
Because no matter what, we always fall short.
We do.
Yeah. But if you focus on relationship building, you're never going to get bored out of getting to truly authentic
relationships, experiences, like you said, going and that is so true, because even now, my child, they'll remember where we went, or where, even if we take Marley, our dog, for a dog park or something, they remember those experiences, right? So that is so true.
And that's the best gift I think we can give our kids, to teach them how to be authentic and enjoy the magic of the holidays without the burden. Because there's going to be times where they may be unemployed during the holidays. So if we put so much significance on gift giving and expensive gift giving, then we're setting them up.
Right.
And we're just promoting this whole not enough. And, and we live in a capitalist world, so where is the bar?
It just keeps going up every year.
Exactly.
It's just more material. So what strategies have you found effective in managing holiday stress?
I think having open conversations about where everyone's at in the family, expectations. And even alternating. Maybe one year could be not any emphasis on gifts, and it could be emphasis on travel or getting the family together. But having flexibility is always very helpful to navigate stressful times.
Right.
To give rope to people, to get, being moms, we think we have it all figured out. You made me wear another stupid outfit. I'm gonna lose my, I'm like,
so true.
Maybe, I don't know. I said, okay, I'm gonna challenge myself. So I told my daughter, I'm like, maybe we could do a pajama theme. Or when I was visiting her in San Antonio, it was so cute. This whole big Hispanic family. They looked like so much fun. They were the table next to us. And everybody just came in like hair rollers.
Oh,
and
really?
And want like pajamas. And they went out to a family brunch.
Oh,
and it was the cutest thing. It's the opposite of what we do. We try to get our best.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, the perfect sweaters are all matching, and
So again, perfectionism, having expectations that are ridiculous, thinking like your idea or this image of the holidays that you have needs to be perfect and everything needs to go as planned. Because life oftentimes does not go as planned.
True.
And when you have kids, you learn that, right?
Yes.
If you're paying attention, that anything that requires so much control is actually something that will not promote the right energy in the family.
Yeah, that's beautifully said.
Yeah, but giving freedom, giving flexibility, is very good to navigate.
And then how can setting boundaries with family and friends help alleviate stress during the holidays? Like, what boundaries do you find necessary?
So this is a good one because boundaries is where we often get in trouble with families because there's only one Christmas day and one Thanksgiving day, and especially when you have adult kids or when the family grows and everyone has different ideas. Maybe you have one person who's Muslim and marries a Catholic, and so having those conversations, like this is I cover 3 sessions when I do premarital counseling for folks on family traditions. So meeting halfway with family members, being able to tell your mom or grandma, look, now that I'm married, I may have to welcome the other family too.
Yeah.
And for everyone, it's hard to say no if it's framed right.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
To be inclusive, to promote connectivity, because kids need to know all sides of their families.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons we do get married, one of the reasons our family does expand is because we want to grow.
Right.
And this is the biggest misunderstanding. People get married and they want to be in a together relationship.
Yeah.
Because to be together, you have to lean into the influence of something new. Otherwise, why doesn't everybody marry themselves? Right?
True.
And have their sisters and all their people that they like.
Yeah.
I think that's a big, and in our cultures, it's a little bit more intensified because we are so guilt-driven.
So I know, I agree, absolutely.
And we shame for the wrong reasons, and oh my God, she didn't say hello to me first, so leave her off the list of the family. I mean, these things can get really, really bad, and they make family dynamics very tricky.
Yeah.
And it kills the vibe.
Yeah.
Because this generation of kids, they're all about vibes and positivity.
Yes.
And they don't understand
and it's supposed to be a joyous occasion, right?
Yes.
So when they come, and you're absolutely right, because I've seen that at weddings and stuff, and they're like, oh, she grandparents especially, or the in-laws and stuff, and like what are you even talking about?
It makes sense.
It makes. I love that in a way, right? You have to be respectful, right? But you'll get to that person when you get to that person. So I completely I get you, because our culture is different.
It's very tricky, and for someone who doesn't know it, I can't even imagine when people marry in from outside cultures and how chaotic that must look.
Yeah. Yes.
One of my favorite things when I work with families is the concept of holding space.
Okay.
So holding space means that you exercise compassion in what others are going through, because to be every time I come to chai time, I realize, one, all the organizations you guys help, but really the extent of the burden that's on the typical family, especially like immigrant families or young families. And oftentimes in a holiday setting, or when we meet up with our families, we think just it's about us.
Yeah.
And we judge the whole situation from this angle, and we lack the capability of like, let me hold space for you. Maybe you're not going to be your perky self every Christmas because you're going through something.
Yeah.
And maybe you're going through something and you're not quite ready to tell me the full story of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
But it's very common as human beings that we get in our own heads. We assume the worst.
Yes.
Because assumptions, you're not going to assume the best typically.
Yeah.
So holding space is kind of making that, assuming the best in each other.
Okay.
And say, this is my family. This is my group of friends. I'm still going to hold this space.
Yeah.
And I think it's a very powerful thing, because it gives families the time they need to come full circle. Because if you feel judged, your first tendency is going to be to run or to isolate judgment from.
Right.
But when you hold space, you promote, not my expectations that you need to be just on cloud 9 every time we meet.
Yeah.
Just be real, be you, and that's enough for me.
Yeah. I love that. That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
right?
that's very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to share this with you guys. I have a very cute family that I'm like working with at one of our clinics at Ibn Sina, and they are siblings. They've all had some childhood trauma, and one of them made the call to come get family counseling.
Okay.
So every other Saturday, we work together on kind of building the foundation and repairing the family relationships. And then at the same time, we're also working on their individual trauma. So this concept of holding space, they keep throwing that the phrase around, and they came this Saturday because one of them, she's very much impacted by the trauma from her childhood, so it was very difficult for her to go face the big family on Thanksgiving Day. So we worked on kind of re-narrating Thanksgiving for her, and she did this awesome, she's like, I picked up the phone, and I know there were so many people in need, and they need volunteers. So instead of getting into her own head and feeling bad, she went and she was helpful.
Aww.
And then she gave the other siblings full right to go do what they need to do, because one of them was like, I feel guilty. I do want my big family Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But I don't want to make my brother feel left out.
Yeah.
And so again, guilt, shame, right? And so this concept of holding space did a lot for them, because I'm like, you know what? That's okay, and that's okay.
Yeah. They all.
And next year we may be in a different spot.
Wow.
And that's authenticity, right?
Yes.
That particular year, and what kind of was the catalyst was one of the brothers had to be hospitalized for mental health.
Okay.
So it just kind of made everybody more aware of their trauma and the triggers. So this was not the year for him to show up to the big family and answer 50 million questions, when he still hadn't sorted himself out.
So absolutely.
For him, channeling that energy into, helping other people, working in the food bank, the soup kitchens, that was more meaningful.
Wow.
And maybe next year that grandmother, once she hears the full story, their relationship will go to the next level.
Yes.
So anyway, I love that concept, and I use it a lot. And
holding space.
Hold space for each other.
Hold space for each other. But I love it because that is so true, right? Because I think we're in this world that we're constantly judging. I think that's just a human nature to judge, right? Because if they're not matching what you're thinking, you're like, oh, because she is like that or he's like that. But that's, you don't know, you're not in their shoes. It's almost like you're so how do you prioritize your time during the busy holiday season? What tips can you share?
Back to a little bit to boundaries, because we don't say no.
Yeah.
We like everybody and we want to be and be honest. You know, be honest about why you can't.
Yeah.
One of my favorite friends, she's so awesome, and she had the last 3 years she's had her holiday party on the same night as like my work party.
Okay.
So it's not that I don't want to be there.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a stretch, because we'll say, yeah, I'll be there. I can make both.
Yeah.
Not really. Because you won't be able to be present.
Right. Yeah. Because
That, and when it's family, like, be realistic about, okay, maybe we can do this side of the family, we can make it a brunch or do something on a different day, right?
Yeah.
And causes too, that you won't be, that actual things will happen. You'll get, emotionally exhausted. I saw this pin, it says my emotional battery, and you slide it.
Oh.
I'm like, by 4:30, you don't want to be my face.
I mean, just a wife for Chai, right? Exactly, right.
So knowing your own threshold.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
What can I possibly get done in this amount of time?
Yeah.
And then how do I say it? There's 50 ways to say no, but you're saying yes. But it also means that you need to be authentic.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes saying that, I feel bad saying no to you, my favorite cousin or sister, but this year I feel like I could be better over here.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm out of touch with my husband's family. I feel like I've missed the last 3 big things. Like, people are going to be understanding.
Absolutely.
And why you need to set those time limits.
Agreed. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after our break. Welcome back to Chai Time on 103.5 Hum FM. We're having this amazing conversation with Mahtab about holiday stress, and so we're going to continue. What self-care activities do you incorporate in your holiday routine?
For me, I think self-care you have to do all year, not just the holidays.
That is so true.
And I laugh because this is also the time of year where we get very bold about what we want to do well and different. It's very reflective. But for me, self-care needs to be integrated throughout your daily routine.
Right.
So whether you do intentional breath work, whether you have, like for me, the ritual of tea, I know you guys always laugh. I'm like, where's the tea? That's very good for me. Like, it creates the pause, all the little steps.
Right.
And in my mind, I'm taking a break from everything.
Yeah.
Because, we hear during the holidays when people come, there's a heightened awareness of family, and a lot of folks kind of realize, oh gosh, I don't like my family, or I don't like my marriage. You know? So it's high season for mental health during the holidays, and so a lot of that gets passed on to us as clinicians.
Right.
So making sure you do, like I tell my clinicians, don't book the tough patients at 4 p.m. on a Friday. Leave transition, sandwich them in.
Yeah.
Like on a day you see 7-8 patients, make sure you take a 1.5 hour lunch if you need to. Or come see me, or I'll take him to Savoy. That's our supervision time.
Okay.
Let's get away from the space where we do the work, right?
Yeah.
In the evenings, like, if you're a busy mom, you're running around doing all these kids stuff, make some adult time for yourself.
Right.
So it's really easy to slip, or don't forget about your walks. Don't forget about the rest of the year, what you do to de-stress.
Right.
and try to be realistic on like what demands you put on yourself. I'm kind of strange in that I really like my work, and as long as I have these mini breaks, I can go 7 days a week.
Wow.
But not everybody is like that.
Built like that.
And what I love about some of the things that we were talking about earlier is to bring creativity into it, and little escapes. Like for me, it's jigsaw puzzles. Every year, my family and I do a 1,000-piece Christmas theme.
Wow, but that's amazing. That's a tradition you have, right?
Because it really makes you pause.
Yeah.
Right? So we make hot chocolate, we put on some like Frank Sinatra or like holiday themes, and it's really nice to just worry about the next piece and finishing a picture. It truly makes you escape everything else. And for some people that's reading a good book. For some folks it's watching a comedy, whatever that is for you, even for 10 minutes at a time. I think it's better than nothing.
Right. Yeah. And so how do these practices help you maintain a balance?
I think the time that you stay in a creative mindset, you truly give your brain a break, and that's how an artist can paint for hours and lose track of time. Or for those of us, like I love preparing Persian food, the chopping the herbs, and although it takes 3-4 hours to make a stew, but if
that's therapeutic,
I love that. It's the aromas, it's try to figure out what rituals you can integrate into your daily habit, so that you're not waiting, if I can just, go to, Bali for 2 weeks. That's not a fix.
No, definitely not. Because by that time you're...
And then the jet lag. No. But when you have your vacation mindset training, and you have it every day, then it's already a built-in practice.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you turn to for support during, who do you turn to for support during stressful times, and how important it is to have a support system during holidays? But I think that's throughout, right? Having a support system.
I think it goes back to, everybody needs their authentic space. Everybody needs that circle of trust, the friends they can be themselves with, the family member that is like a friend to them. I think to have that is not just the holidays, but all year round. You get to reflect and be your authentic self without judgment, and that is in itself a battery recharge. Not everybody is maybe they just moved to Houston, they don't have that, their friends are not here, or they're in a different time zone. I think the professional, so that you don't wrong that you don't like about your family, maybe you're not connecting, maybe it's a hit and miss. It's a great time to call a therapist and be like, this is my pattern. What do you think? Like, I need an extra perspective on it.
Right.
We shouldn't wait till things are completely broken.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get the help.
Yeah.
And I think every agency in this town, they're going to give much, coverage. Like already my team, I told them, you all take your vacations, and then I'll carry us through February, and I'm going to go on my vacation when our high season starts.
So this is your high season? Like December, like you said, December, January.
November to even like there's a lot of action in mental health, like January, and then it starts to like even out, and people wanted life-changing goals. So it's like going to the gym and the parking lot's full on January, the first week, and then it starts dissipating.
Resolution.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize holiday stress was so real, because it's so funny. We were talking about it the other day, and my husband and his friend just started laughing. They're like, really, you're like having a topic about holiday stress, like it's first world problems, right? It's first world problems. I'm like, yeah, but I mean, it is true, but I didn't like you said, like divorces and stuff, they're happening in January, because of the pressure of the holidays. So,
and then the other thing I think for our cultures too, when adult kids, there's a lot of dualities.
okay.
So a lot of like adult kids live a very different life than the one their parents know.
Oh.
And so then the holidays become this tricky time because, well, of course my mom wants me home at, on her Thanksgiving dinner, but I have this new girlfriend that she doesn't know about. And then, so it just, I don't know, there's something about the holidays that just puts light on everything, literally.
Okay.
Whether it's finances, because maybe up to a point we were trying to ignore the fact we don't have a good income, but when
Now
gift giving comes and it surfaces. If we didn't get along with somebody,
now
we
you're
have
seeing
to
them.
face them. It surfaces. Alcohol consumption goes high. Marijuana use goes high. Breakups sometimes happen because of the pressures.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
It's a real thing.
Wow. What do you suggest about mindfulness or relaxation techniques to help with holiday stress?
I think, in the anxiety literature, everything that points to grounding could be applicable here.
Okay.
So, again, those pauses, like for your brain, it looks different than mine.
Yeah.
Maybe by 10 o'clock, you need your chai, your deep breathing, or walk around the neighborhood or playing with your dog. But for every one of us, it looks different. So you have to pay attention. Like if you leave, like a good indication is if you leave a conversation or if you leave a social gathering and you need a nap and you feel exhausted, that's probably an indication that you need to implement one of those practices.
Right.
If you come home and you're energized,
Yeah.
go hang out with those people more.
Yeah.
If you needed, 5 glasses of wine to just hang in there, probably not the best situation, right? So it's a lot of reflection and kind of getting to know your own boundaries for yourself to see how much you can spare for others.
Yeah.
And it goes back to like self-care and understanding, yourself.
Because especially I think in our culture, like understanding yourself was never given importance to when you're growing up, at least when we grew up in India, right? Like with being girls in the house and stuff like that. It was never a priority. You just do what you're asked to do, especially with that culture. So like I think we're learning it now. And I feel like a lot of our generation is really learning, like, how do you respond to stress? Like, what are your triggers? You know, just like you said, what works for you? Like, for me, it could be deep breathing. For you, it could be just like you said, that chai break. So just learning that, I think, like, this would be a good season to just reflect on yourself, right?
All of a sudden, we stop doing everything in our family.
Like, what's going on with you?
I'll be getting calls.
No, but just like you said, taking that 5 minutes out instead of having that breakdown end of season or middle season or whatever. And I think we all go through that, but we women just handle it. And I'm sure men too. I'm just talking from my perspective, right? But as a mom, like, you're constantly just on the go with your needs, your family's needs, So I think it's
and
that.
we need to communicate.
Oh yeah, that's a big, and that's lovely. That's our next question. Yeah.
We don't communicate.
We hold everything in.
I was guilty of this too, and then my son taught me better. I'm like, get out of that outfit. The next thing, you need to wear a tie, or no, not those shoes. Oh, not the.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mom, slow down. But now, I text both my kids the itinerary, the dress code, who do we expect to see.
Oh, okay.
So that they have a heads up. Because oftentimes we're just like dragging our kids and just
Yeah, and expect them to like just mingle with everyone, say hi to everyone, and you're right, and to be dressed, because I have 2 boys, and I don't realize they'll be asking me questions like, okay, mom, who's gonna be there, and like, what am I wearing, and I'm just like brushing it off. But you're right, they need to be mentally prepared too, because they have to handle or deal with different sets of people that we just expect them to get along.
And easing them into it, because again, big families, a lot of culture, it's beautiful, but for a kid who's maybe they're 12 years old and they're still trying to sort themselves out, self-image, and you throw them in this big ocean, and you're like, make sure you respect everyone, and you
to everyone, yes, absolutely. And you didn't say even go say hello to that one, you didn't say hello to that one, and he's just looking at me, poor thing.
And then we expect them to like it. You see, like, slowly as moms, I think by doing these like bad habits where we only have a tunnel vision, we kind of take away the joy, right? Where instead we're like, who is your favorite person to talk to? What'd you learn about this uncle? Like, again, like, even for us, like, when I go to a networking event, my goal is not to make 100 friends. My goal is to talk to 2 people, learn some things about them, their organization, so that I can retain. It's impossible, even like, how the gay, my goal is just 2.
That is so realistic, because though.
Beyond that, I won't be able to retain.
No, lesson stuff or even parties are overwhelming, right? So, I guess it just depends on the personality. But like you said, if I have in my mind that I don't have to deal with everyone, it's just 1 or 2, then I don't have the anxiety to go for these events, right?
And multiply that by 10 for a kid. You imagine you've had all these years to acclimate to adulthood and these social norms. But you want your 10-year-old to be like...
Like our expectations are so unrealistic for our kids, and I mean, they just go along. Sometimes they have time. I just had one yesterday, my poor child. I just yelled at him in the car. But I guess that's why I'm feeling like, the mommy guilt comes in. So
it's okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Absolutely. And then in what ways can we focus on gratitude or the true meaning of holidays, so that we have it in perspective instead of just the gift giving and the expectations of the entire society on
I think I always tie gratitude in intention together. Because, especially now that my parents are much older, I remember when they were so much more able, and it was just like they were always so good about their grandkids and being on top of gift giving, and now like poor things can't even move like to get their own tea. So if you look at intentions, I think is to remind families of what's important together, and they share a common goal, and reiterating that intention to the kids, to the next generation, but actually showing up for each other in that same energy. Our energy talks more than we do. Right?
Absolutely.
It's not so much that what you made when you came over to my house, it's how excited you were to come, and then how I made you feel leaving. Right? So this is where a lot of families, I think, struggle, because it's very forced, right? Because of the other stressors. And we need to hang on to being grateful. Like, look, you just made an announcement. People need just basic food, blankets, jackets. There's at Ibn Sina, sometimes I hear these families, my office is in the children's clinic. So, oh my God, this is God telling me, because that's
he couldn't afford
5
vaccines
kids who can get vaccinated. Man, that's my money well spent.
Yes, absolutely.
If you want, and the holidays also, like, we think, if we go to church or go to the mosque, we're somehow more pure and more grateful. It's not necessarily true. Try to look for cues in your world and your environment, and where there's a need, like show up.
Yes.
And step into that with the right intention.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure.
And that brings good energy.
Absolutely.
And you bring that energy to your home, you bring it to your kid, you bring it to your spouse.
Yeah.
And little by little, the world benefits.
Yeah.
You may think it's very insignificant,
Yeah.
but it has much more impact.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. I mean, I love you, and I was smiling because it's funny. I was listening to a YouTube short on energy this morning, and they said your most important thing you bring in is your energy, and that's exactly what you said.
Yeah.
So it is so true, you know. And I can't believe we're almost at time.
Oh gosh.
But I mean, what do you want to share? Like, what would you want one thing for our listeners to do this season?
Be present. Not every
Agree.
holiday
Agree.
means those same people will be there.
That is so true.
Just take it in.
Take it in, enjoy
like,
the people.
If it takes you 5 hours to go buy gifts,
I love it.
and that does create good energy.
That gives you so much to think of on this holiday season. Thank you so much, Mahtab. I really enjoyed this conversation. I could go on. I need to come sit at Savoy with you. Yeah, so thank you so much. And thank you to our listeners. We'll see you next Monday, same time, same place. Bye-bye.